Good afternoon from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. What I'm going to talk about today is something that most of us are quite familiar with from all walks of life. When I say rock bottom, many of us will know what rock bottom can mean. It could mean rock bottom whilst having an addiction, like some of us have who watch Yammy TV, where you hit the absolute bottom of no return. That if it gets any worse, that then you're beyond rock bottom and you're probably not alive. So many of us, fair to say, have been to that rock bottom stage. There are many people who, without addiction or without living that life of crime, who have also been at rock bottom. Emotionally, trauma, losing loved ones, relationship breakdowns, all that kind of stuff have left them feeling rock bottom. Rock bottom, we know, can lead to thoughts of suicide. Rock bottom can leave a feeling of, how do I get out of it? How can I ever get out from feeling at the feeling that I'm feeling at that precise moment? And we know that with addiction, with crime, with emotional states of all kinds, we know there comes a time where we do fight back. Sorry for those that didn't have the willpower, didn't have the support, didn't have the help, didn't have the control to have a go, or they battled a little bit, but it was beyond them and they were very, very weak and they surrendered to a life of rock bottom or probably death. So we know that it's been proven time and time again through people's stories. Not just my story. We're talking about many, 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 many stories out there that lead us to believe that, being at rock bottom doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay there. And we learn from others, probably like myself, we hope in the future, when I get stronger and stronger and stronger, and others that I've learned from, that there comes that you want to know how they did it, how they got out of that position of feeling down and out and having no chance, felt worthless, felt like not living, felt like, there was no way out whatsoever. So I can say on my behalf that there are many times when I've hit rock bottom. The one I was going to tell you today, I was going to say that was my most rock bottomish, but then on careful inspection, I realized that isn't the most rock bottom position that I've been in. There was a rock bottom way back in the day in the 90s where I ended up in a not a nut house. I don't like to use that word no more, but I ended up in a mental, not asylum, but a mental hospital for about a week under the influence of paranoia whilst under the influence of cocaine. So I was imagining things, seeing things, delusional, and doing all kinds of funny stuff that they had to take me in. And I was quite happy to have been there. So after a couple of days of sleep, I'll never forget it. I was pouring with sweat and everything every night. I couldn't sleep because of the fear of what I thought was going through my mind at the time. So, and I realized the touch and go thing in your head, it's on the fringes of fragility, where I understand that certain men in life and women have reached those stages, and where it's hanging by a thread can often lead the other way of no return. Because the mind's a very, very fragile thing. As much as invincible as we like to some of us like to make ourselves out to be when we're taking drugs, like we know what a greedy bastard I was, thinking that I could just continue taking anything I wanted and I'll be able to handle it without looking after my health, especially without looking after my mental state, all those things that we've talked about on my channel quite frequently. But that rock bottom there was a real rock bottom, but it didn't teach me. I had to see a Dr. Kotak, who explained it well to me. And after 5 days of looking around the hospital, they wanted me to stay in another week or two. I said, no. I went back out, carried on committing crime, and ended up back in prison as usual. So that was a rock bottom stage for me. It frightened me, but I didn't at that time have any kind of know how. I haven't been to rehab. There wasn't the things on offer now, or counselling things that can teach you ways of, or ways out of feeling like that. None of that existed for me in the early days. So I ended up back in prison, and obviously familiar surroundings, fitted right in straight away. Continued with my journey, spiraling out of control for years and years and years, all for the sake of that I want to die because of, for whatever reasons, whether it was to do with the past, the way I was brought up, the sad things that happened, the way that I feel about myself, the way many of us feel about ourselves can lead to often very self-destructive behaviours. So I was going to say to you, Christmas time just gone. I ended up in hospital after an episode I told you about, and I felt like I was being ridiculed and mocked in the hospital, and I basically walked home, discharged myself in the middle of the night in a nightgown with no shoes on, off key completely, and walked down the street and got home safely somehow. After about 3-4 hours after the ordeal calmed down, there were a few sitting around me shaking their heads. My son had to come down at 4 o'clock in the morning, seriously worried, my boy. And I explained, and they explained to him what happened and whatnot. But yeah, that was rock bottom because I felt shamed, walking down the street. Remember, I had nothing underneath the nightgown as well. Imagine that. Because I did not want to stay in the hospital and the embarrassment of it all. But my mental state was in doubt completely. I can say to you since then, no drink, no coke, no crack, no sniff, no weed, no tramadol. All right, the odd bit of pain relief and a sleeping tablet here and there. I'm not going to beat myself up about that no more. If I'm in dire straits of it, I'm going to take it because on those days when I'm in severe pain and certain troubles, they can help me. So I will go, with God of course I've got, who's helped me countless of times. I realize I also have to help myself sometimes, because sometimes your faith could be so strong, but when you're in pain and your mind's not functioning right because it's not tuned in with the injuries or the stuff that's going on, you can't focus on the things you need to do on the days that you need to. So you're going to need some kind of help. You can't walk. It's not like I can write a sentence and go every single line, because it's just not going to be possible. Hope, sad. Happily, I don't get a lot of days like that. But I admitted complete defeat after that day. I admitted complete defeat, right? Because of the stuff that was going on, the beating and the unusual stuff. I told you about the panic attacks, the anxiety attacks. I now know that anxiety and panic attacks are something that's very, very real. I was tense every night. I couldn't get into my bed. I didn't want to fall asleep because I didn't know, all those fears. Getting on the train, I was out of breath. I realised how weak I was with the build up to everything that happened before Christmas. Pleased to say to report today that it seems that, hoping I'm not counting my chickens before they're hatched. I've done that too many times before in the past as well. Seems like it's fading away a little bit. The spinal condition is not going to fade away. It's there for life, and it could get worse. So we know at the end of February, we will have the results, and I'll be able to tell you exactly what they're going to do with the cyst. And after the operation's been done, we will know where I stand for the best part of it. For what's going to happen next. But it's still not going to stop me going on this journey, because I'll be on this journey with you all until it's humanly possible and it's all over, because I'm going to give back as much as I can by way of experience and making amends to the day I die. I'm realising quite often now that after all the years I've been away, even with the time I've got left on earth, wouldn't be enough for me to unlearn everything that I've been through, if you get what I mean. There's not going to be a time in life after 40, 50 years worth of institutions where, after 10, 20, 30 years, I would say that I got cured by, all the things that happened along the way for that time. So I know for the beginning, from now to the end, I am on a constant journey of relearning and learning things that I never got a chance to do, albeit small things. Of all kinds of things, if you like, or some of the things that I'm finding happiness with. A small child is finding happiness with and knows a bit more than me about it. But I enjoy sharing the moment because I've never experienced it before. And I'm fascinated to know that, at least, because everything I look at now is like more of education for me. Like I'm thinking, oh, good, I got to know what that feels like. I mean, it must feel different as an adult to how it would have as a child. But at the same time, at least I get some kind of concept into understanding what it felt like in whatever capacity and whatever age I am. You see what I mean? So let's stick with the rock bottom, right? So we've been down there. I've been down there so many times before where I said, gonna stop. It's all over. I'm not gonna do it no more. I'm gonna have a go, but I didn't know how to have a go. I didn't know how I was going to achieve the goals that I've set for myself now, you know, with having to be busy every day. I've got books to write. I've got talks to do. I've got people to go and see and help. I've got to be on constant guard for other people's emotions and stuff as well. It's not all the time I can get back to people, I'm afraid, and help them, because sometimes I'm not as well enough myself. If I have 3 phone calls in the morning and all of them are very, very sad, with sad things happening in their lives, by the time the 4th and 5th one comes, I'm only human. I won't be able to give as much energy as I did to the previous 3, because it can wear you out a little bit, other people's stuff. But I'm training, I'm learning, you know, because this is what I came into it for. Is to be able to help people, especially because I see now that a lot of the stuff I went through, people are telling me that they would have found it difficult to go through. Not just to go through, to come out the other side and be able to explain it all, and to make people, and also to be able to pass on what survival kit or skills I used, as well as my faith, or, you know, God being in the background and things like that. What was it in the spirit that kept me battling on when there were others around me that I witnessed probably might have gone, fair to say, might have gone through less than what I went through, but are not the same men today, and, you know, are really in a bad place without, you know, believing that they could ever recover, and don't seem to have the mental health is so bad that there doesn't seem to be a way for them to understand that there is a chance to recover, because, you know, that God does like the meek. He likes them poorly. He likes the needy. He likes to help. He likes to, you know, give them the best they can. But sometimes human nature and mental states can be so severe that some people just can't find a way out. Now, addicts. We're talking about addicts and crime. Sorry, so I've got a bit of background there. But for addicts' purposes and for crime purposes, I say to you that I am completely defeated. So if we're going to call it, I surrender to drugs, surrender to crime, surrender to that old way of lifestyle, surrender to risk and places and that kind of stuff. I look at it more that I accept that I am defeated, finally. Finally, from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, having your mates around you and going, yeah, we're going one last go. It was always me and you meant to be together. Come, let's just do our thing. Because what addicts tend to do, or people involved in crime, what they tend to do is partner up with the people that speak the same language. Don't worry about it, man. We could do it this week, because you can make yourself feel happier about yourself because there's somebody else to join in with you. Excuse me. Someone else to join in with you to fool you. To fool you the way that you're fooling yourself, that the life you're leading is okay, because you've got one or two people with you who think the same way, or are pretending to think the same way that you do, so that they can get some self-esteem, that they're not out there on their own feeling this way. And everybody's at different stages with giving up in that life. Complete defeat, I say. 1, I just didn't want to harm anyone no more. 1, that was for definite. 2, obviously, when the spinal injury, and when I spoke to the big man and everything and the promises. free all the guilt, shame, and all the people that I've hurt along the way. I wanted to somehow try to stay out as long as I can without committing crime, to see what unfolds, hang in there during the darkest moments of being homeless, and everybody's around me's taking drugs and they're already looking a way out, if you get what I mean, sadly. Maybe now they are. We hope that they are. We always hope for the person. There is a chance for anybody in any position. You must never, like we say, underestimate anybody. But me, myself, to finally admit that I was completely defeated at Christmas led me to believe, as well as the physical condition, of course, played a part, that I realised I never had many chances left to be fooling about with addiction and all the things that go with it that could ruin my health completely, where I just dropped dead before I've even had a chance to get to know my grandchildren, chance to make amends with my son, a chance to make peace with God, a chance to be giving talks and to be passing on my experiences. All those things that I wanted to do to make peace with before I die, I wanted to achieve those things, and will continue to try and do so now that I'm in a stronger position now, especially the last week or two, with the hard work from Christmas, where I've finally stuck to what I meant that day, and that was that I have had enough. I've come up here. Some of you have noticed already that I am going completely the other way. I was going the other way anyway, with life changes and things like that. We knew that I wasn't involved in crime. We knew the demons were still popping in here and there. We knew that there was days I was going to go missing and I wouldn't be able to come up and face you all, because there's nothing like coming up here. Some days I would come up half-hearted and, you know, not get my words right, not be able to explain things right, because I feel that I put that down to when you're in front of the camera. You don't want to stick to, but I feel like most of you have been with me so long, you know that when something's wrong, amazing that I've hardly met many of you, but yet you say, Uncle Yammy, is there something you want to tell me, or is there something wrong? Because you get to know me long enough to know my ways, and you know when I'm on form and when I'm not on form, and you know that this time round I'm telling you that I won't be defeated. I am defeated, if you get what I mean. I'm coming from a defeated position, but now's my time to fully understand that life, drugs, crime, but that was going anyway, but all the other things that go with it as well. Do you know that I actually get scared? I was on a train the other day and there was like 9, 10 little youths running through the train, and felt like everybody was intimidated on the train. I even felt scared. These are the times we're living in, you know, but I'm thinking, once upon a time, isn't that what you used to do, Yammy? You used to push out your little chest and walk past people and look at them, and when you see the fear on their faces, they look down. And now I'm scared as well. I've got to admit it. It's very, very fearful out there with what you can be facing up to if you look at the person the wrong way, or, you know, there's 10, 15 handed that might just steam into you, and that'll be the end of it for you. And we know already the youth lifespan now is so short that, you know, they don't even get a chance to live and be able to tell their stories of some of us podcasters who are telling our stories and passing on experiences, the genuine ones that are doing things for the right reasons. You know, I take my hats off to you, because it's not very easy to come up here and admitting, or at least, you know, being honest with yourself and telling the absolute truth about that life and that game, because there's no point in trying to hide little bits, because nobody ever learned anything by hiding that bit and hiding this bit. It's like teaching somebody, saying, oh yeah, well, I won't say that bit because it's going to make me look a bit bad. But then if that's the case, then that means that you haven't changed. That means you're scared to say what you've got to say because you're still worried about what other people think of you. So therefore, you have not completely changed. You've changed a little bit, but if you're worried about, you know, the code of the street and what they're going to think of you, that image thing that you held on to for all those years, if you're worried about saying those things because you still want to be proper in some kind of way, then the information you're passing on to the youth and to the people that need it is not going to be of any use to them. because what you tell them, and if they believe in you, they're going to be thinking, oh, hold on a minute. But he said that, Yam said that, they said that. And then what they find is when they try it, it doesn't work. So that means that we felt that we didn't really tell them the truth. And because of us and believing in what we said as role models now, that we've actually we haven't let them know, or we've told them the wrong thing, and they haven't been able to, you know, to gain anything from it. It might have been cause harm to them if they use some of the methods that I'm telling them to use just to keep themselves safe, you know, and to keep themselves fit, to keep themselves tidy, to be aware of the predators, to be talking to a few of my ones on WhatsApp this morning about young girls being groomed on Snapchat. You know, that I've got a granddaughter now who's 17. I'm gaining information as well now, see, of all ages. Good to have grandchildren around you so you can find out how it all works around those scenarios and what kind of things are going on there. Even though I hear it through social media, there's nothing like hearing it from the horse's mouth. And some of the stuff I'm hearing it really alarms me as well. It's fair to say. The state of play out there, our 27-year-old men and 28-year-old men could be trying to manipulate 15, 16-year-old girls into blinding them with false Louis Vuitton bags and things like that. Come with me, I'll show you a good life. Stay with me, you'll be with me, you know, just because of, and then thinking they're going to be, they haven't got, especially the vulnerable ones that who are in care already, who haven't got much going on in their lives. We hear about these things all over the country where, you know, they've got absolutely no one. So a predator in his mind is going to see those things and he's going to think, well, that's an easy target. It'd be like me picking on an empty house where there's no one in. It looks vulnerable. Oh God, it's a burgle, and you know it looks fitting up. Nobody's there. You know, it's a chance to take advantage of it. Same kind of thing in that grooming thing as well. They're looking for vulnerable targets, but complete defeat. And that's what I'm saying to you. And when the times I've told myself that, yeah, no, this is it now. I've done a rap program in Wandsworth once, and I believed what I said at the time when I've had my first clean time for 4 or 5 months. And we was thinking, yeah, the game's won. The game was never won. Within a couple of days or weeks, you lapsed and you know, all hell broke loose. So all the programs in the world at that time, because it's new, and you're feeling new feelings with coming off things for the first time. It's like being away from crime. What would be the substitute that I found? I'm lucky that I've got my life to fall back on, to give out experiences, to give me something to do, to better myself and to hopefully better those around me as well in the future, or forever as long as I live. I get a chance to do that. But now that when I'm clean, I don't get excited and think, oh yeah, the game's won. For the first time in life, I say completely defeated. You have to be, because you have to be at rock bottom. You remember the one, even before going by the AA and the book, and the powerlessness and the unmanageability is one of the starting points coming to those programs, because you have to be at that place to want to change. And many do enjoy those early moments of recovery and haven't felt that good feeling ever since time began, and think that, you know, that it's going to last forever. But no, it does not last forever. There comes a time when it wears off and you get a bit bored, and you know, you've done people, I'm clean, look at me, and then everybody's like, yeah, all right, yeah, you're clean. And then one moment, the fools after being clean are always much bigger than the original fools before, unfortunately. Many addicts are going to be able to testify to that 100%, because you know that you gave it the big spuds for so long that when you fall now, you know, they're going to be going, see, I told you. You know, people are always going to be there to just go give you a quick kick in the backside while you're down, and yeah, obviously, because they were still doing their stuff and they weren't quite ready for change, and they're going to feel that they never had the strength to even take a chance or a risk at getting clean, and they're now to see you fail, and that again, welcome. I've seen some terrible moves, about what's supposed to be good friends who want the best for you, all of a sudden be rejoicing that you're now back with them, back in that cycle of things. So the crime side of things, of complete defeat, was the harm to individuals, But there was a time, long time ago, I told you all I felt out of place when I used to see people being belittled and being bullied and being spoken to. That's all right, fair to me to say that I turned into an animal in later life, and became just what, or pretended to, became exactly what had happened to me. I became one of those to get my own way so that I could get drugs. So I've got to live with also being one of those kind of people, I'm afraid, as well. But to know that the difference, that's what I was going to say, the difference to the times before, when I've said to you that I am whether I'm winning or whether I've stopped or whether I'm trying. It's all good intentions at the time, and you feel like you can't be, and then you know that the tests are going to come with people, places, and someone's going to drink in front of you. Someone's going to say, I know that's happened around me already. Since I stopped, it's not going to happen this time round, because I won't even be there for it to take place, because the danger signs, I will be on it straight away in a flash. And I know that that's foolish to be going to places and testing out yourself to see if you can manage to watch her sniffing and watch him drinking, watch them smoking weed, and think that just because you didn't do it for the day, there's not going to be a time when you can be around them all the time where you're going to go, all right, then come. But for the first time in life, I can look at you all and I can honestly say that I have won. Not one, no, one's not the word, but I am saying that I will not be stepping backwards. I am absolutely terrified of that life. I'm terrified of what it brings. I'm terrified of the effects that last episode had on me last year. It's frightened me to death. I was already frightened of committing crime anyway. I'm going back to prison to face those same things that I talk about every day with you on yammybtv. You know, to go back to prison. How's he? What's he saying? Because the whole thing's changed. Even down to the officers. I was thinking the other day, it's just not the same no more. I can't see no love. I can't see no caring from nowhere. I have to say that's the sign of the world that I have witnessed since I've been out. So you've got to find it in yourself, not to like the love. So what do you do if you're completely stuck on whatever your thing? You can reach out. You can listen to these stories from other channels and other people that have been through it. And they ask them the questions of how they got through it, what methods that they use, what feeling means what, because not everyone can put stuff together in their brains and are intelligent enough to articulate what's going on inside of them, that leave them no way out at all, apart from to make them use and feel bad about themselves even more, because nobody's there on hand to show them. But there are places and people now that can show you that there is a way, and if you're in real trouble, there are people out there that can lead you to the places where, if it be rehab, if it's I will never force religion on nobody, but I know God alone is enough for me to take me through to the rest of time, for the journey that I'm going to continue doing in, because that's where I get my strength from. Because I believe that everything that was ever written in those books that are offering about addiction, they were written in God's books a long time ago. We were warned about the things that are on earth. We were warned about the things that we might have to face. We were warned about people coming in wolves and sheep's clothing. We were warned about absolutely everything, down to Adam and Eve being tempted with the apple. All these things are written in up-to-date books, but in the beginning of time, they all came from one book. So the message for today is basically, I'm winning, and I can say to you for the first time that it's not going to happen. I said it before, and I've continued to go down this way, apart from the pain relief and the sleeping tablets, of course, if I have to. But something inside you just changes. You will know when you're ready. You know, you don't matter how many times you've been knocked down and you stay down, and it gets worse each time, because you start to lose more belief in yourself. But don't be deluded. Don't be, beaten by that. Don't think that just because it's happened 10, 20 times and you still can't do it, one of those days, the penny's going to drop and you're going to see everything so clearly. See everything for what it really is. That with it in your life is a mess, makes it more of a mess. With it not in your life, It's not going to be a bag of roses, but I tell you what, it's going to be much more easier to cope than it was when you had all that inside of you. So I was going to come up and talk about something else, but no, just an early morning educational one, and probably, I'm probably going to come up in a little while again. The cold cases as well. I've got a few more of those. I might come up with those today as well. But sending loads of love, and stay as strong as you can. Never give in. There's always a way out. Trust me.